with that said, we're going to start the show. Next to me is Marion Porterfield. She's a city council member and, of course, has a real interest in making our city better. So we're going to find out how she is involved with this. Next to her is Colleen Maris. She is with the Downtown Schenectady Improvement District. And, of course, everybody wants to stop crime. So we're going to find out how she feels about this and how they're involved with it. And next to her, we have someone from the Mount Pleasant Neighborhood Association. Her name is Sharon Lynn Schmidt, and we're going to find out more about how they're involved. And then at the very end, he didn't come to yell at anybody. He's here, so Lieutenant Mark McCracken. He's from the Schenectady Police Department, and that is our first line of defense. Well, maybe our second line of defense. Our first is ourselves, right? We got to do something for ourselves first. So, Marion, tell me a little bit about the program, because it's really, I went to the website, the master website, and I was really impressed with it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that crime prevention through environmental design, which is commonly called CPTED, is something through the National Crime Prevention Council. So let me just give you about how we ended up here today. In March, on March 26th and 27th, we had a representative from the National Crime Prevention Council come to give us a 2-day training on the principles of CPTED. So all the people that you see here today were there, and other people as well. We had architects there. We had people who, city personnel were there. So anybody who would, it was a very diverse group who could, where we could work together and come at the, working with the principles of CPTED on a cohesive and collaborative basis. So we had a room full of people and 2 days of training. We did the training, and then we went out and actually applied what we learned. So it was a great time. And essentially what CPTED is, it's again, crime prevention through environmental design. It's a set of design principles that are used to discourage crime. People don't like to talk about crime so much, if we don't talk about it, it's not there. But in fact, that's something that
exist.
It does exist.
And we need to take some personal responsibility.
Right. And that's what CPTED does. And this is something that everyone can be involved in. It's not just like the people you see here, the people in the room. And one of the other things that we've been doing is going around to the neighborhood associations and teaching the
and we have someone from one of the neighborhood associations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In Mount Pleasant, Sharon was at the training, and we did a pilot project for CPTED in Mount Pleasant, and Sharon will talk a little bit more about that. So with CPTED, you design your buildings and your properties so that it discourages crime.
Is it called redesigning? Because it's already designed, right? So you have to kind of look at how to make those changes.
Well, and they're not difficult changes. Yeah. There's basically 4 principles. There's natural surveillance, natural access control, which controls how people go in and out of something, territorial reinforcement, and maintenance. And so in terms of natural surveillance, as you said, you talked about redesign. For instance, one of the things that's a very simple thing that anyone can do is if you have bushes that are blocking your window, in front of your window, or really high, you just cut those down. So it's not something that's difficult, but that way people can see in, people can't hide, and people can see out as well. Mm-hmm. So it is redesigning, but it also can be incorporated into when you're designing a new building.
New building.
And
right.
how we're having a lot of building going on downtown, and we had architects there as well. So it's something that they could also include in their design.
And Colleen, since you kind of are with the Downtown Schenectady Improvement District, you see how the downtown area. How are you involved with this then?
Well, I took the training essentially to pass this information along to our business community, our commercial property owners and residents here. For example, again, how Marion talked about bushes and shrubs, but it also goes beyond that. In a downtown, you start talking about graffiti or trash or lighting. Yeah. And those are the types of things that we also talk about, making sure that your lights stay on past 8 o'clock at night, especially in the wintertime as it gets darker earlier, that they come on earlier, they stay on later. And actually it's an interesting thing because with what CPTED talks about and with what business communities should do, there's a lot of synergies there that are actually created because people do, it's a national statistic, 70% of people shop and choose to shop in a store based on its outside appearance. So SEPTED principles are easily applied in that way, and it also helps to keep you safe. So if you're going to leave your store late at night, make sure that you have an outside light for your rear exit as well as your front exit. So those are the types of things that we try to pass that information along to our business community and to be aware of. And also because for what Downtown Schenectady Improvement Corporation does, we are involved in a lot of pre-planning and a lot of things like that with the city. And so, just reminding people of these principles. So the more people
They're talking about it.
Exactly.
Kind of the thing with this training is the more people who know about these principles and are able to say, well, look, it might be a great idea to put a berm up here because it might be avoid some sound issues. But what does it do on the other side? The other thing is reuse.
Right.
A lot of times buildings are designed with SEPTED in mind based on the existing use of that property, but the use changes. So what do you do then? So then you try and have to go back and look at those things. So that's kind of how we're involved is helping to bridge that gap.
The neighborhoods, we'll go to Sharon here in the neighborhoods. How are you implementing it in the neighborhoods?
Well, we had the kickoff of this initiative on May 14th with the code enforcement and the dog enumeration program. So they are going through and actually citing people for violations. We're to go through and pick up litter, go back every week and make sure litter is picked up. We are encouraging residents to adopt a block, adopt a street, to be able to carry that on. It's being very effective because people are coming out. They'll ask, are you city employees? We'll say, no, we're volunteers. And they'll say, how can I help? One lady says, where do I sign up? I says, you don't sign up, you just start picking up litter on your street.
Really, just be part of the solution.
And people are saying, it makes them feel good to know someone cares, that something has been laying around for a while and is finally being picked up. We're cleaning around abandoned buildings. We had a dumped couch, and I called General Services for it to be picked up. And the owner, who had property in the back, had to look at that couch for a while. We were able to get it picked up that day. If garbage cans are overflowing on Crane Street, I can call or text Carl Olson at General Services. It'll be picked up sometimes within that hour. So we're working with code, we're working with General Services, and we are able to, because of this initiative, get things done rather quickly. Because we're looking to Mount Pleasant now as a model for other neighborhoods. We're also already sharing that information with other neighborhoods who are asking us, how did we get such a big turnout for cleanup day?
As a viewer, they must really get excited. But Lieutenant, how does the police department? I'm sure you must be thrilled with this.
Absolutely, and being able to work in cooperation with all the different groups makes our job that much easier. And if you're able to design your property, maintain your property, discourage blight, which is going to bring in a criminal element, you're making my job that much easier. And it allows me to focus my resources on other areas that might need it.
Right. Do you offer any suggestions or training, or is this something, it's pretty much a volunteer program?
When the city's going out and they're going to different neighborhood associations, be involved in your neighborhood association, be active in your community. A lot of it's common sense. If you notice garbage, even if it's not on your property, pick it up. If it's in the street, pick it up. It all falls back to the broken window theory, where if someone breaks a window and nothing's done about it, you're encouraging criminal element to come in and take a foothold. If you repair things as they're damaged, if you maintain your property, if you present the best appearance for your property, whether it's commercial or residential, and make it that much more appealing, you're going to make it that much more discouraging to a criminal element.
And don't make things tempting either. I mean, like, don't leave your car unlocked, don't leave your computer on your front seat.
That's a whole other issue. that's a whole other, that's another topic for another day.
But I mean, it's that whole idea of trying to reduce the criminal element, and of course the environmental design, of course, is the most important piece of this.
It's one aspect. It's not all encompassing. This isn't going to, by cutting back on your shrubs and making sure that you're picking up in your property, you're not going to completely eliminate crime in the city.
And look like you live there.
But if you maintain your property and your street maintains its property, well, then it's that much less of an appealing place for a criminal to go, and they're going to go on in other neighborhoods. Well, if we're able to eliminate all those neighborhoods in the city of Schenectady, and we're able to polish it up a little bit, maybe we'll get some people to relocate to another county.
Well, well, the thing is, I think that the people that really do want to take care of their property get discouraged when people, their neighbor isn't doing that. And I think what you're doing is raising awareness that if we all chip in together to keep our property looking like we care about it, like our neighborhoods are cared for.
Right.
And I think we're going to have kids even think twice about throwing something down on the ground. It's sort of that educational thing that if we all try and do how we want to live, right?
Absolutely, and it really is about education, and that's what SEPTED is about, is just educating people. And when you listen to the principals, a lot of it's common sense, and but we just maybe don't think about it all the time. So it's just letting people know, and as you said, this is something that absolutely everyone can do. All neighborhoods can get involved. And I have to agree that as we see a neighborhood improve, you want your neighborhood to improve as well.
And tell them to leave the county, right?
Well,
Or pitch in.
that's
Or
right,
pitch
right,
in.
Become part of the
Yeah,
solution.
we'd rather have them
Be
be
the
part of the
solution.
solution.
Yeah.
That's right, absolutely.
Well, you've learned about the program called, and the title is Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. There is a website. You can go to the cityofschenectady.com, or you can go to the National Crime Prevention website to learn more about it. I don't know where you're living, where you're watching this. You could be watching it in any state, because you can watch us on the web. Find out if your community has something like this, and get involved to stop crime and to, what is it, McDuff? What is
McGruff.
it?
McGruff.
McGruff,
One
the
of
crime
those.
dog.
Yeah, the crime dog. We'll have to get that dog out here. Forgot all about that. But anyway, we've had 4 wonderful guests here to talk about that. Marion Porterfield, Colleen Maris, we've had Sharon Lynn Schmidt on, and Lieutenant Mark McCracken. We're always pleased to promote reduction of crime and to make our communities better and have a great quality of life. And you can help that, so do it. I'm Ann Perilla. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to hear I believe we're going to hear from Ray Gillen first. And then I just want to remind you that we've got a great lineup, and you're going to find out more with great guests, so stay tuned.